Hi friends, Titanic. I'm sure most of you would have heard about this ship called Titanic. Either you would have read somewhere, heard from somebody, or you would have watched this movie called Titanic, which is based on the true story of Titanic. This was also called as an unsinkable ship, but unfortunately it sank on its maiden voyage, losing at least over 1500 lives, and that was one of the deadliest maritime disaster in history. What exactly happened? Well, on the night of April 14, 1912, at around 11:40 p.m., Titanic has hit an iceberg, and after 2.5 hours, almost after 2.5 hours, at around 2:20 a.m. on April 15, the early morning of April 15, it broke into two pieces and sank, and it ended up sending distress signals. And importantly, there were three ships who received these distress signals, and most of us aren't aware of this. There were three ships who received the distress signals from Titanic. In this video, we shall look at and analyze how human behavior reflects in connection to the Titanic incident and the three ships and their response. Well, as Titanic was hit hard and started sinking, it began to send distress signals. And there were three ships which received these distress signals, and they are the Samson, the Californian, and the Karpatya. These are the three ships. Let's analyze the response of these three ships. Let's begin with the Samson. This ship was merely 7 miles away from Titanic when they received the distress signal. But unfortunately, the crew on the ship were hunting seals illegally, and they don't want to be get caught, and they decided to turn around and go in the opposite direction away from Titanic. And these are the people, like some of us, these are the people who represent like some of us. We are so busy looking inward at our own sin and lives that we cannot recognize when someone else is in need. The Samson, the ship that represents people looking inward at their own sins, unmindful of people in need. The second one, the Californian. Well, this ship was almost like 14 miles away from the Titanic when they received the distress signal. But they were surrounded by ice fields, and the captain looked out and said that nothing is going to happen. I will wait until the next morning to go and offer help. And convinced, he spent the whole night convincing himself, telling himself that nothing wrong is going to happen. I'm going to go in the morning, the next morning. And these are the people who are waiting for the right time, right situation to take action. But in reality, there is no right time or right condition or right situation to start to take action, my friends. This ship represents the people who say that I can't do anything, at least I can't do anything right now, and they always wait for the right time and right situation, which never exists. The third one and the last one, this is the Karpatya. This ship was almost like 58 miles away from Titanic when they heard the distress cries over the radio. As the captain heard the distress signals, he suspected that there is something seriously wrong, and he decided to turn around and head towards Titanic. 58 miles away, my friends. And while he was heading away, he prepared his crew for rescue. And it took about over close to 3 hours for his ship to reach the spot, the accident spot. And this was the ship, Karpatya was the ship which saved over 700 survivors from Titanic. And this was one of the most heroic rescue efforts that were ever performed. When the captain looked back around the ice fields which he passed through, he realized that there is some force, some driving force behind him which made him to take this decision and move forward towards Titanic, which has eventually led to save over 700 survivors from Titanic. My friends, this ship represents those people who would in need, help people in need without worrying or waiting for the perfect conditions. This ship represents the people. The help in need is the help indeed. So as we summarize, Titanic sent the distress signals and it was received by three ships which were around Titanic at the time. But only it was Karpatya, who was about 58 miles away, was able to come and rescue at least over 700 lives. Had it been all the other two ships responded to the distress signal, it was analyzed that more lives could have been saved. My friends, obstacles and reasons to avoid responsibility shall always be there, but those who accept it always find a place in the hearts of the world, always to be remembered for the good they do. Well, let's wish that more of us could be Carpathians in life, unlike more Samsons and Californians, and this world would be a more beautiful place to live in. My friends, thank you.